Welcome to the Chain Out Podcast with your hosts, Jeremy and Daryl.
Hey everyone, welcome to Chain Out Podcast. It's season 2, episode 80. I'm Jeremy. With me as always is your favorite co-host, Daryl. How's it going, brother?
I'm doing very, very well.
Yeah, very well.
Excited to be. I'm very well. Yeah.
Good. Well, it's actually been, first of all, 80 episodes. Do you know what that works out to?
One every week for 80 weeks.
For 80 weeks,
Yeah.
or over a year and a half of Chain Out Podcast in people's ears talking Canadian disc golf. Can you believe that?
I can believe that. I'm surprised that I've put up with you for a year and a half.
I think we've
I'm just kidding.
Really learned how to tolerate each other.
It's only 2-3 hours a week.
Yeah, like any good...
in the winter, summertime could be more.
It could be, that's for sure. And speaking of that, we do see each other so often, but in this past week, we actually did not see each other once since the podcast last week.
Yeah.
So how have you been?
I've been fine.
Yeah.
I got a chance to go out and play a course that we haven't played yet this year. My first time getting out to the Sea Change Disc Golf Park at Bailey's Crossing.
Oh, and they've made some changes out there, hey?
A few changes, yeah.
Yeah. Well, we got to get into that at some point. I got to get out there. I haven't been out there.
How about we save that for Around the Basket?
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for that. And maybe I'll tell you a little bit about my round at Niska last night.
I look forward to it.
It was a good one.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into our top of show because we have a lot to do off the top, and we really want to get into our guests today too.
Mm-hmm.
We wanted to bring up one of our listeners and supporters, Jess Evers, who goes by the handle on Instagram.
Not Your Average Discer.
Yeah, so check her out over there. She's one of our listener supporters, and she's having a women's event in Calgary in just over a week. So next weekend, Saturday, June 7th. It's called the CWE Canadian Women's Event. Calgary Women Can Park It #3.
Mm-hmm.
So far, there's 43 women participating, and registration is open up until June 1st. So a lot of the Calgary people came up to participate, and she's up first. So if you're available and you're a lady and you'd like to be part of this event, head on down and join them. They'll be playing at Curry Reservoir, which is a great course in the center of Calgary. I've played it before. It used to be a par 3 disc ball golf course.
Okay.
Turned into a disc golf course.
Nice.
Yeah. And that was it. And the other thing about it too is She's Up First was part of the Cold Garden Cup tour.
Yeah.
And this event is as well. And what else I think? Oh, we sent some stickers down to them. So if you didn't get any of our pink Chain Out stickers up at She's Up First, if you head down to Calgary for this event, you'll be able to get some there.
2 colors?
2 colors.
So if you got a pink one up here, you can go down to Calgary and get a purple blue one?
Well, there's the bright pink that we did.
Yeah.
And then there's that kind of like darker gradient pink.
Okay.
Yeah, so 2 different versions that we did for the women's events. And then what's going on? Disc Golf Pro Tour is ramping back up in North America, and the 2025 Northwest Disc Golf Championship presented by Latitude 64. These names are so long.
They just keep getting longer and longer.
Keep getting longer. Is happening this weekend in Portland, Oregon.
Yes.
We have 2 Canadian MPOs and 2 Canadian FPOs competing in the event this weekend.
2 MPOs?
Yeah. 2 MPOs and 2 FPOs. So let's see, because I do usually, guys, I have my outline drawn up here. Daryl and I go through it and we take a look at it. But in this case, this time, I said specifically, Daryl, don't look on the internet because I want you to guess for real. So there's 2 MPOs, 2 FPOs participating in Portland.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start with the FPOs. Who do you think is going to be?
Well, I know the FPOs because I pay attention on Instagram, and I know Sophia Donica's down there.
Yes, and it makes sense. She's right there in Victoria.
Yeah.
So going down to Portland is pretty
you're
quick.
going to know, because if you don't see Sophia's post, you're going to see Disc Tay's post, Taylor Choshek.
Yes.
Wherever you see Taylor, you know Sophia's not too far behind. So
that is a fact.
I've seen that one. And I did actually see Rebecca Disc Golf. Rebecca
Dawn.
Rebecca Dawn is down there as well, because she
Yeah.
posted with Trinity Bryant and Eliezra.
And I think for Rebecca, it may be her first time out to Vancouver, because she seems to be very much taken aback, as anyone would be the first time they've come west and saw the mountains and the big trees and all of that type of thing. So good. That was quick.
So,
we got the FPOs.
yeah.
What about the MPOs?
2 MPOs.
2 MPOs, 2 Canadian MPOs competing in this
And one of them-
BPT Plus event.
And one of them is not Thomas Gilbert,
One of them is not.
because he's, as we'll find out later, just played in New Brunswick this past weekend.
Okay.
That was a bit of a weird okay. 2 MPO and MPOs, not MP40, not MP,
No,
not
no.
MPOs.
MPO, Mixed Professional Open.
2 Canadian MPOs. Well, the only, I mean, you just kind of gave it away a little bit then, maybe, if you said that out in the Vancouver area, Victoria. So I'm going to say Casey and Max.
Well, that would be good guesses because
They
both
just
of
got to
those
go, yeah, they're
are,
close to the border.
yeah, they're both kind of in that Invermere, Cranbrook area, which is close. No,
No?
you already mentioned one of their names.
I don't have who.
So Thomas Gilbert is
Oh,
actually
he's already there?
gone from Dieppe Open
No way.
all the way out to Portland. And that's, I think, in anticipation because we know he's going to be out west because he's going to be up at Smith Lake Farms in June. So this must be a trip out west and he's just
Western
hanging out
Spring.
there.
Okay. Well, wow.
Yeah.
That's good.
And then no guesses on the second one, hey?
Oh, Casey and Max. That was my
Yeah,
guess.
that was your
but
guess.
you don't-
So the other one, I
Mhm.
didn't even know who this person was. And that's what I love about you and I following Canadian disc golf and trying to bring that to our listeners.
Yeah.
Is it's a person by the name of Kieran Atkinson. And have you heard of Kieran?
I've got to say, in all the 8 years that we've followed and any events that we've been at, I don't recall seeing the name Kieran Atkinson.
No. Well, Kieran Atkinson is from the BC area. And
Okay.
I did try to do my crack investigating that I like to
Okay.
do.
Stalking. Yeah.
Yes. There is a little bit of that involved in there as well. And one of the things that I had found when I took a look, it says that they spent about a year in Ghana. So maybe that's
Okay.
why we didn't see them in a lot of the posts.
Sure.
Or sorry, a lot of the tournaments.
Yeah.
But they recently, I found a post where Miguel was in a tournament, Miguel Alvarado,
All right.
and it was right a heated battle right to the very end where they were going into a playoff.
Yeah.
And it was with Kieran Atkinson.
Oh, that was that event?
Yeah,
And
that's
that was
right.
Kieran. Okay. I didn't know it was Kieran Atkinson that was tied with him.
Yeah. So if you're watching the Portland coverage or you're just scrolling through PDGA Live,
Yeah.
watch for those 4 Canadian players. And
They'll have a flag beside their name.
yeah, they will.
Yeah.
And that's how I found it. Exactly. So let's jump over. You've done the guessing. Good job on not cheating and trying to find out ahead of time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But last week we recapped the Foxwood Open and the spring runoff.
Yeah.
And as part of that recap, we are giving away a Prodigy
Yes.
spring runoff disc.
It's our pinned post on our Instagram profile. Go check it out.
And what else do you see on there, Daryl?
Yeah, this disc, you were the spearhead of this. You decided, let's take this disc and let's try and get as many MPO and FPO people to sign it. It'd be a great giveaway. We got all of the FPOs. So Kristen Swirls, Terry Hong, Joe Henderson, Amber Chasons,
Chelsea,
and Disc Golf Prodigy, Jesse Prado Smith.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And then there's also MPOs on there as well, including the winner of the MPO division, Coda Postma.
That's right.
Casey Hannemeyer, Noah Higgins, Matt Rogitnik, and friend of the show, Thomas Grumman.
That's just to name a few. There's probably another 7, 8 MPO names on there too.
Exactly. So if you'd like to win this disc,
what do? You got till Friday?
well, yeah. There it is in the script. I'm like, what does it say? YouTube. You've got until Friday. Head over to Instagram. Leave a comment, follow Chain Out Podcast, and leave a comment with your 2 favorite Canadian MPO and FPOs. I didn't specify that, I don't think, in the post, but we really like you to show some love to the Canadian pros. So tag your favorite MPO and your favorite FPO in the comments. You'll be entered to win. If you're a Patreon subscriber, don't sit back and relax. You're already entered into our contests. You can head over there and tag them as well if you like for a bonus entry. But all our Patreon members are already automatically entered.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you don't have to, because all you need to do to get in the contest is like that post and tag those 2 pros. But if you head over to YouTube and subscribe to our channel, we'd really appreciate it.
That was so heartfelt.
It was, hey? Well, Daryl, let's chat a minute about our fantasy stuff that we do. And which one do you want to start off with? Do you want to start off with our picks with Kevin King from last week? Or?
Okay, let's start off with the recap of our Chain Out Fantasy League.
Yes.
So we were joined by Kevin King.
Mm-hmm.
His name was Team Kingdom.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. We each made our picks. we're not gonna dilly dally on this too long, Jeremy. We're gonna get straight to it.
Okay.
It was a close one.
Okay.
I don't have the individual points, I'm afraid, because I didn't.
We did the whole total.
We did the
So up
total
until
points.
well, if we talk about it, what was going on was team guest for the 2 tournaments before was Matt Lysak.
Yeah.
He cleaned house.
He
He
did.
was way ahead of you and
2
I.
tournament wins.
Yeah.
2 fan vote wins. No, the fan votes were split
Was
between
split.
you and Matt.
Yeah, but the 2 tournament wins and
And the
way more
wins.
points than you
Yeah.
and I. And then Kevin came on, tried to fill those shoes.
Yeah.
Did a great job. But let's see what we look like after 3 tournaments.
Well, actually, you know what? If I can go quickly here and then go to here.
Mm-hmm.
So on that event, I will give it in reverse order. Team Kingdom
Yes.
finished in 3rd place with 16 points.
Okay.
Who came in 2nd?
Well, I was feeling pretty darn good.
You were,
so I
yeah.
think
Team Shambles came in 2nd with 21 points, and that was luckily due to our new point system of adding in 15 points for Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up with 21 points, but look at who, lucky.
I never got to say that once last year.
Sorry, I didn't mean to trample all over it. Go ahead.
Looky.
Team J-Pal out in the lead with 33 points.
Mm-hmm.
Both MPO and FPO winners, and an eagle from Thomas, and good placements on all of your picks.
Yeah.
So you finished with 33 points. So let's add those points to the previous totals. And that, as you can see, in 3rd place.
It still didn't put me in the lead, though.
No, but I mean, last week you didn't have a very good showing at all. But Team J-Pow with 51 points, Team Shambles with 54, Team Guest just holding the lead there, 3 points ahead of me and 57 points.
Yeah, so
it's definitely closer this year than it was last year.
That is for sure. At this point, I think I was almost already out of it. So good job on Kevin King for coming in and being the guest and holding on to the lead that Matt had started. It's a little bit narrower, but he held on to it.
So obviously you took that win. So that now says that you have 1 tournament win. Team Guest, as you mentioned, Matt Lysak took the 2 wins down in the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that we're not used to seeing, is that Team Shambles is in last place with
Team Shambles in Shambles
with tournament wins with 0 points. And then obviously it comes down to the decider. The subscribers are not liking Team Shambles this year. I don't have any subscriber votes wins. I don't have any tournament wins. I'm 2nd in the points, but you took the subscriber win for this week event. Sorry.
Yeah.
So you lead with 2 wins. Team Guest with 1 win.
Well, that's only the tiebreaker, as you like to tell me.
Exactly.
So that's if there was a tie between tournaments and points, right?
Yeah.
So,
well, let's head over to, if you go to our website, chainoutpodcast.com, you can take part in our Chain Out Fantasy League over there as well, where you get to pick 3 MPO, 3 FPO, and there's no snake draft. There's no restrictions on any limit of which players you can pick.
Right.
On this one, it's a free for all. You pick 3 MPO, 3 FPO, so you could be picking the same. Let's just head over there.
Before we get to there, this one here, and the gentleman is in the chat right now, is Dylan Froelich. So thank you so much, Dylan, for helping put this one together. You and Daryl have been working tirelessly to put together these picks. Let's take a look at those standings.
Yeah. So let me see if I can get this to work.
Okay, so what do we got?
So we have the leaderboard right now. In first place is Chain Out Jeremy.
What?
With a total of 1,530 points, an average of 510 points per tournament.
Oh my.
I know. What is going wrong this year? Last week's winner, or it's saying that you went down in position, but you're first. I'm not sure exactly.
Maybe I was.
It's a bug fix, Dylan. I think Dina was in first place last week. She's dropped to 2nd with 1,475 points.
Mm-hmm.
And then Mr. Alex Penny, the nicest man in disc golf, with 1,455. And I would give an honorable mention to Chain Out Daryl in 4th place.
Yes.
With 1,450.
And then I would say we got to round out 5, and our buddy Mark Thompson.
Mark Thompson's in 5th as well. And in total, some people haven't participated in every event so far, but we have 17 people participating in the Chain Out League.
Yes. So make sure you go out to check it out on chainoutpodcast.com. That's our website.
Yeah.
And that's one of the main features of it right now.
I don't know, Sonia. What is going on, Team Shambles? We are in shambles.
And then the last thing that we do with that is with our fantasy picks, where Kevin, Daryl, and I were picking anybody who voted on our teams, plus our Patreon members get an auto entry.
Yeah.
We have a gift card from BR.
We did the draw.
And why don't we roll that?
Here we go. So Mr. Brock Cicchetti won.
Congratulations,
And
Brock.
you'll notice it is actually his name and not his Instagram handle or anything like that. And that indicates that he was entered in as part of being a Patreon subscriber, automatically entered, and it just pays to win.
Yeah, so
Pays to enter.
congratulations, Brock. We'll get you that VR gift card there. And let's wrap this top of show up with a shout out about our sponsors and our Patreon. So we have two major sponsors this year for Chain Out. We have BR Disc Golf, and you can get 10% off with them if you use the code CHAINOUT at checkout. And in talking to Brendan this week, he said that he's got more MVP discs on the website and loaded up there for you to buy. And he said the trail has been super hot.
Yeah.
I don't even know if he has any left at this point, but I think
yeah,
he's got a few if he does. It's
everybody likes it. Everybody wants one.
That's right. But I do know that he also has some of the balances, the Simon's perfected balances.
Right.
And yeah, they're pretty good. I threw one last night from Mike Carey.
Yeah, not the prototype that was included in the MVP Jarapalooza box.
That's right. And then also, if you use Chain Out with a space between the two words at Cardinal Disc Golf, you can get 10% off your threads, your clothing, stuff like what we're wearing here.
You can get yours, but it won't have the sweet BR logo on it.
Yeah. And when we were speaking to Kevin and Lane from Cardinal, they'd already brought out new jerseys this year, a ton of new jerseys. Mm-hmm. And they said there's even more that are going to be dropping soon.
Yeah, exactly. And we're excited to see what new ones they've got coming.
Yeah. And we had 2 discs we were going to give away to people who use our codes. And we found out that both people, our code has been used twice.
It's been used.
But the one thing is we don't know who used the second code. So if you bought yourself a nice jersey or something from Cardinal Disc Golf, this vanish is yours. So why don't you drop us a message and let us know? Maybe show us a picture of the gear that you bought.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the last thing we got to say is join us after this episode for our Patreon Around the Basket one. We're going to do another one. We haven't done one in a while. I think the last time we did one was me by myself.
I think it probably was, yeah. We went straight into fantasy after that.
Yeah, I've got some good topics for us to talk about, including a quiz for you. Ooh. And yeah, I got a quiz. And I got a quiz for the listeners can participate as well, and we'll see if they can beat you.
Okay.
So if you want, join our Patreon at any level. You'll get the free link to join us after this episode, and you can be part of the live episode and chime in and comment and do all of those things.
Exactly.
But let's get into the meat and potatoes, Daryl.
Let's do it.
All right.
I'm just going to quickly preempt you and just say that if our guest is listening, please rotate your camera because you're not lined up correctly.
Okay, there we go.
There we go. Just a bit of a pre-warning.
So and sometimes too, I think, isn't there a lock feature on people's cameras? And if they've got that lock feature on,
there is a landscape mode lock. It didn't do it earlier when we spoke to this person.
Well, what we're going to do is we're going to talk to the first person from the Dieppe Open.
Yeah.
Of our 3 guests that we have on the show tonight. And that first guest is feverishly working to join us.
Our current guest is upside down. There we go. Leave it like that. You got it.
All right.
You got it. Perfect.
So our first guest, that's the green room. Not only are there special treats in the green room, there's also a feature that can make you turn upside down.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's a fun time in the green room.
That's right. Our first guest has been a staple in the Atlantic disc golf scene. He's been a PDGA member since 2020 and just hosted the 5th Dieppe Open. Not only was it an A tier this year, but it was New Brunswick's first A tier ever.
Wow.
We're excited to have the tournament director, Luc Richard, on the podcast.
Hey, Luc, how are you doing?
Good, you guys.
Good.
You see, we do all that testing beforehand, but sometimes it doesn't matter, does it?
Oh, it is what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
We're having fun doing it.
Yeah, we're happy that you're here.
Yes, definitely. And we want to welcome you back to the podcast, Luc. It's been a little while since you were last on the show, but you have been on before, and that was for another A tier you were part of, and that was the Discmania Open. That was back last year. How have you been doing since then?
Been doing great. The Discmania Open was fun last year in beautiful Kings Fine Disc Golf Course in PI, and that was co-run with our good friend Ben Smith. So yeah, and then right immediately after that, the Dieppe Open became our priority, and we knew we had only a few months to deliver, and that's what life has been all about since October, anyways.
There you go. That's good. So we want to start off. We got 3 big questions for you. Not in any particular order, but one, have you had a chance to wrap up all the tournament duties?
All payouts are done. Everybody's received what they needed to do. The PDJ summary's been set. All that's left to do is I could show you a picture is clean my garage, but that'll be in due time once the tournament hangover is done.
There you go. That's
That
fair enough.
that sounds a lot like when we spoke to Rebecca Johnson and Noah Higgins last week about how things were going, and they were in the same situation as you. They said everything's good, just don't look at our basement.
Need someone to come and clean the house. Yeah.
Exactly. In due
Second.
time, it will be done.
Yeah, exactly. Second question. Have you dried off yet?
After yesterday at the 30 degrees yesterday and 30 degrees today of sun only, yes, we have, unfortunately.
Perfect.
But it was crazy. It was crazy. I believe we were just chatting before this, but it was by far the worst conditions that I've had to put players in and seen in since joining disc golf in 2020 for an event. We had bad winds and rain in Rose Valley one year, but this one here, 3 days in a row with barely any breaks in between. That definitely was a challenge
Yeah, I bet.
uh, across the board. Anyways, yes, for sure.
Yeah. And then the third question, now that it's all wrapped up, have you caught up on all your sleep?
Not yet, not yet. Unfortunately, I do have a real job outside of disc golf, and that takes priority. So that's been a few days, but I'm looking forward to this weekend for sure. Just to taking a step back and
Yeah.
kind of chilling a little bit. Anyways,
A deserved break.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Well, Luke, the Dieppe Open just came to our attention this year when it was as part of the Canadian A tiers that we were planning and getting ready to cover. That's when we first kind of learned about it and did some research. And it may be the first year as an A tier, but it's been going on for 5 years now. Tell us a bit about the tournament and, how did it start and how did you feel that this first A tier iteration went?
Well, Dieppe Open, like you said, has started in 2020. I wasn't part of the original event back then. But after that, the last four I've been involved, and every year we've kept this event growing and growing. Basically, what we do is we take the Dieppe disc golf course and we change it to a safari layout. So anybody that's played Dieppe knows that there's baseball fields that surround the whole course. So the course is built around those. So what we end up doing is we end up renting those baseball fields, creating three long holes or bomber holes that we use. So basically, players get to throw across the baseball fields, use them as
Wow.
hazard.
Mm.
And there's a change of it in elevation. There's a 500-foot hole that's got a change in elevation and is wide open, but you clearly have to throw over a baseball field. And we thought that we had it mastered down to a par four that could possibly be eagle, but Thomas obviously proved us wrong. Found some new lines. Anyways, but yeah, so the Dieppe Open is basically what we've been trying to do over the first few years. Obviously, for me, I was new to the sport, so it was just getting into the sport, getting to know what the TD duties were and all that. But we kept growing and growing, and then 2 years ago, there's a fellow that joined me, Rick Robichaux, and he wanted to add to the dimensions of that. And obviously, as a TD, you can't do everything yourself.
Mhm.
So he came on. He came on, took a lot of the duties of behind the scenes, like the graphic designs, the posts on the social media and stuff like that. So which gave me a lot more time personally to play my contacts, to chat with people, and to sell the tournament to our sponsors and everything. So last year we bumped it up to a B tier, and then this year we wanted to run a stress test on our course. We've done some major updates over the last 2 or 3 years.
Mhm.
We wanted to see how the course would hold with a ton of traffic on it, and wanted to see what kind of support we could gather from the disc golf community and from the city itself. We knew that it could be good, but we didn't know it could be this good. So yeah,
Mm.
so it really panned out to be a good, an amazing weekend. Yeah, weather wasn't there, but I think because of the strength of our community of the Greater Moncton area, the town of Dieppe and their employees,
Mhm.
I think we pulled it off, and we made we made the worst possible conditions ever the worst possible conditions in disc golf look like they were secondary to
Yeah.
everything else. We wanted it to be a disc golf celebration, and it was.
That's
Nice.
It
awesome.
was.
Yeah. And you mentioned there about the great support that you got from the disc golf community, not only locally, but also from Quebec, Ontario, and even Maine as well. When you get such big names like Thomas Gilbert, Chris Oslin, Chantel Bedinsky, Colleen McInnes coming out to play, how great does that make you feel?
Well, that was the cherry on top, just to be honest. We had spoken to Thomas a bit uh, earlier when we posted the event. He'd gotten back to us, but never really confirmed anything. So we just went out on a limb and we said, "Listen, uh, whoever comes, they're not going to regret it." And we just built our activities based on what we had. And then when Thomas signed up, that really generated a lot of steam.
Hmm.
But we had other ambassadors. Like when you look at Quebec, we had Karen Martel that
Yeah.
immediately was on the bandwagon. She's amazing when it comes to disc golf. There's another gentleman there that runs most of the tournaments down there, JC Birbe. He's at TD in Quebec. He brought, I think, was 8 or 9 people from his hometown of Terrebonne, Quebec,
Wow.
to the event. Yeah, so we built it around ambassadors, and those ambassadors worked for us. Then we had Rose Shirk from New Hampshire, and
Hmm.
and she was one of 2 Americans that were in the event. Um, that that was a little bit disappointing. We thought we'd get a bit more, but the current situation talks for itself. So
Yeah.
all in all, the ambassadors that we had, and Chris Oslins and Tobin Isaac also
Hmm.
brought in
Yeah.
a crew from Ontario that was amazing. Like we had a ton of fun. Like it, like I said, disc golf almost became secondary this weekend to the people that were here. We had a delegation of 10 Cape Bretoners that just bunked in the same house and came down. Um, and people from Newfoundland, we had 2 participants from Newfoundland. When you look at that, how as a TD don't you want to be satisfied with the turnout itself?
Yes.
So
Yes.
Absolutely.
our goal was to brand the Dieppe Open, and I think if you ask me, it's mission accomplished in regards to that for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely. And now, if we talk a little bit about the New Brunswick disc golf scene, because as Daryl and I were mentioning earlier, is we get a lot of focus on the West Coast. We get as far out to Ontario, but it's not too often that we've had a chance to talk to the Atlantic side of Canada. So, according to UDisc, there's 28 courses, with Dieppe DGC rating fourth best course in 2024 in New Brunswick. It's a Discmania disc golf park as well, and we had Matty Riordan on the show from out west here, and he's part of the disc golf park, and we know how wonderful those courses can be. But tell us a little bit, what's the disc golf scene like in New Brunswick right now?
It's in the growth phase. We do have a lot of courses. Do we have a lot of high caliber courses? Not at this point, but there's a lot in the works. Fredericton is currently in the works. That they've got a course that a pro level course that should be built, that's being built. Not exactly sure when that should happen, but what's gaining in popularity right now is the numbers.
Hmm.
Right in the Greater Moncton, like at our friends at Review Disc Golf Association, they've got a course called CDT, Claude D. Taylor, which is a 21-hole par 3 course, which is the busiest course east of Toronto.
Wow.
Yeah, and that community is strong. Like the members of that association are very strong, and we work very well together. So the bonus that we had with our Dieppe Open is we had those guys that wanted to be involved, and we actually used their course for two major side events. One was the Battle with Big Maple, where
Right.
Thomas Gilbert went out there. We had over, I think, 60 participants. That was on the Wednesday night prior to the event. He had a chance to play a hole with every participant, and then and like he said, he says with a course of that size, it made it easy for him to play at least a hole with everybody else. So, and then on Friday night, even with the rain, I think we had over 20 participants in a test that we were doing. It was a sunset to glow event. So basically, it started around 8,
Okay.
8:30 at sunset, and they had the course set up with glow lights on every baskets. and basically you started with your normal disc and you switched to your glow bag halfway through the round. So it
Okay.
made that interesting and fun. So that was good there. So that the Review Disc Golf Association is really really strong, and it kind of reassures us that we have those people also for future projects that we'll kind of discuss as we move along in this interview.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like it's quite healthy and, like you said, in a growth phase, but in a great growth phase. And we know that in some other areas, that big COVID boom growth has slowed down and it's kind of leveled off, not dropped, but maybe just gone back to pre-COVID days. So it's
Hmm.
good to hear that you guys are still in a growth phase at this point.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and it's all about getting infrastructures in, and the smaller communities are coming on board. Like we've got a community, maybe 15 minutes of us, that just approved that they approved 9 for this year and 18 for next full
Wow.
18 for next year. So we're looking at that course. That course is going to be a nice course too. It's another Ben Smith design there too. So, and like within when you look at Dieppe and you look within a radius of maybe 30 or 45 minutes drive, you've got the potential here of having 3 or 4 fairly good courses that could could play to anybody's strengths. So
Oh,
yeah, it is growing,
Perfect.
and the numbers are coming up, and there's a junior program starting to be to take part, and Dieppe will also have disc golf as a demonstration sports in what we call the Acadian Games, which
okay.
Oh
is
yeah.
which is games that are for youth from the age of 12 to 14. So it's going to be the
Perfect.
demonstration sport. So we're going to be initiating at least 30 to 40 younger kids to the sport at that point. And it brings in, I think, something like 200 or 250 athletes from all across the province. So they'll get to experience that also. So all part of the momentum that we're building here. So
That's
Fantastic.
perfect. And we just have a comment in the chat here, and it's probably just goes to speak to, one of numerous comments that people could be sharing right now. But
Mhm.
Gripped and Rip Spencer is in the chat here. He says Dieppe was amazing this year. Luke and his team have had some amazing ideas, and exciting to see what the future holds. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's amazing.
And
yeah, well,
yeah, I was gonna say,
it,
Luke, I'm guessing that there is probably Spencer Young, and he's no stranger to running tournaments as well. So
Exactly.
somebody who knows what it's like to run one and knows how good it is when he sees a good one.
yeah, and we had some good chats. Spencer had some good tips and tricks for us also, and it's fun to be able to exchange with
Yeah.
people like him and others. Chris Oslin's also gave us some amazing feedback. So it's all about getting better. It was year 5 was our first of many A tiers. We hope that this will definitely apply for another A tier for next year, and 2027 hopefully will bring something a little bit shinier to our local scene if things go our way anyways.
Well, that's great. Well, and I would say, as we're talking about this, so the scene out in New Brunswick is looking good. The course was good. Jump into an A tier. You've got the community support. You've got all of these players coming out. And then at the event itself, you also had some pretty sweet trophies from what we could see too. So tell us a little bit about the trophies that you made for the tournament. And I think Daryl's going to be able to pull them up here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those were it was a general idea. We just put it out there amongst our we what we did is we built a group of people that we call the Dieppe crew, and we put it out there, and all of a sudden the buoy came out as at potential trophy that we could see happening. So then
Yeah.
we got lucky. One of our friends, Nick Bro, gave us a mock, and then we were able to come up with the idea, and with the Acadian colors. Also, I think everything felt and matched very well for our trophies, and I think they were a big hit. Anyways, amongst the players, it's unique, it's fun. We're hoping to have a theme going for the next 3 years, like I mentioned, and yeah, it was fun. We had amazing comments.
Yeah. And for anybody
Perfect.
who's listening afterwards here on audio, what we were looking at was these replica buoys that would float in the water with a red and a white and a blue stripe and the yellow star on top, MPO champion, FPO champion. They looked fantastic.
Hmm.
And Luke has been so generous, hasn't he, Daryl?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Luke, you've been able
So
to give one of these replica trophies to us to give away to our listeners. And
absolutely.
not only that, what else did you have that you were going to put over to us that we're going to give away?
Well, everybody's gonna get, or whoever wins is gonna get a set of the players pack disc, which is TSA Expanse, and we also have nice little frozen. So I'm not sure if you guys are seeing it well,
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
go.
but maybe if ever you guys want to do a special
Hoo, hoo,
Oh
hoo.
my
we'll
goodness.
throw in a week. There might be 10 of these left.
Oh wow.
They're a special brand, so we'll let you guys decide what you want to do with those. And then one of those buoys will be auctioned off also with you guys. So yeah, that's our contribution to say thank you to you guys also for everything you do and for giving us this window that you have. So yeah,
Oh, that's fantastic,
Yeah,
Luke.
that's
We really
amazing.
appreciate it. So we're gonna find some
yeah,
ways to put those prizes out through the socials. We want to get some support, even more support for Dieppe and for the Atlantic disc golf scene. So
exactly.
we'll find some ways for our listeners and people following us to follow you as well, and then we'll
Yeah,
pick someone to give away from there.
That's amazing. Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you so
absolutely.
much.
And
fantastic.
just to fill you in, and I don't know if we're
Yeah.
going there yet, but we talked about a 3-year plan, and 2027 for everybody want to know is we want this was like I said, it was a stress test. We wanted to see how our organization would react. We wanted to see how the city would react. We wanted to see how the course would react, and we briefly met there over the last few days, and Dieppe will officially be submitting a bid in to host the 2027 Canadian Nationals. So if anybody's interested, start putting
Woo-hoo.
that one down on your calendar.
Oh,
I
that's
I think we've got one big trip on us each year, Jeremy, and we're going out to nationals this year, so maybe we can go somewhere west next year,
yeah
and then line up 2027.
to be
Hopefully, it
out
all works
east.
out. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, well,
So yeah,
you know what? With everything we've heard already, we were already excited to find a way to get out there. And now you're going to tell us that there could be nationals out in New Brunswick. That would be fantastic.
we're definitely going to try. We're going to put a bid in and see what everybody says. But I think with the courses that are coming up, I feel solid. I feel solid with the team that we have. Um, like our success is all about teamwork and strength of the community. I think we've got that. We've got the experience. Like I've been part of the last few nationals in PI with Ben.
Mhm.
He's always one of our strongest supporter in the background now, and he was a big part of this Dieppe Open also. So we've learned from that, and we just want to move forward, and and we've got major sponsorships also starting to line up. Like Greenfoot Energy has been amazing. That's their plug right now, and Thought Space Athletics also has been really supportive of our event. So we're hoping to build on that, build on the momentum that we've got now.
Yeah.
Our goal was to brand and to be talked about, and I think that's mission accomplished, to be honest.
Yes.
Yeah, you're definitely going about everything in the right manner, the right way, and I can only see, a great future, and you're taking things in the right direction. So,
Hmm.
um,
Well,
I can't see any other way that it wouldn't be out there.
oh, that's right. And that's so exciting for that. And Luke, one thing I want to ask you about, you mentioned Greenfoot Energy there. A lot of people who are looking to run tournaments in that, they're looking for sponsors. And a lot of times it's your local disc golf
Sure.
store that's around, or maybe your league is helping support or something like that. But getting sponsors that are outside of disc golf is a big thing that everyone wants. So tell us about how you married that together with Green Space.
Greenfoot.
Oh,
Well,
Greenfoot, sorry.
yeah, with Greenfoot. Well, Greenfoot, we started that relationship about 2 years ago, and we were able to build it into a 3-year plan, which is this year and then next year again, bumping the A tier to putting a bit more cash out for next year, and then in hopes that there's a tentative agreement that if we do end up hosting a nationals, they will be part of it also. So it's just building relationships. It's just showing them value for what they're giving to us. And Greenfoot has taken disc golf as part of their company's activities that they do. We see a lot of those employees that basically Friday afternoons, you come to our course, you'll see some of those trucks at the golf course where they allow them, hey,
Right.
you finish your work, you've got a few hours left, go to this golf course. We're approving it. So those people are allowed to come to the disc golf course.
Wow.
We've also done a few instances where they've done staff parties or staff
Right.
activities.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they come up, we teach them, we put on a clinic for the new disc golfers. They go out, we play 9 holes with them, and then they're off on their own. We give them a few discs, so that gets them hooked. And I think they appreciated what we did, and now they're our biggest supporters in Dieppe and in the Maritimes right now. They're also helping out with the women's events that are coming up. So they're big in the community. They're growing in Canada, so I think they see it fit also. So
Yeah.
that's how we sold it to them. Now we've got them locked in for 3 years. So let's make the most of it.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
What a fantastic sponsor. That's
Yeah.
great. Yeah, that's so
Like
exciting.
Sonia in the chat is just saying that she wants that job.
Yes.
Like what job do you have where like if you finished all your work, oh, it's okay, we're going to approve you to go and play disc golf. You know, it's one of those things that we're trying to find a way how we can take time off to go and play more disc golf.
Yeah.
Yeah, Greenfoot
Yeah,
is such a great ambassador of the sport that they're actually going to pay you or at least allow you
Allow you.
to have time off to go and to play the sport that we all love.
Yeah.
yeah,
And you know,
yeah.
as we wrap up, Luke, one of the things that we didn't mention earlier, and I guess this might have been as you guys were gearing up for that A-tier bid and everything else, was Tobin Izet, as we mentioned. He was earlier there. He was putting out some posts, and we noticed that you had someone announcing every player on the first hole. Was that true? Was that every player, every division? And was that for every round or just round one? Because that seemed like another little part that made it special.
Yeah, every single player from 7:45 tee time to the 3:20 tee time was announced on the tee pad. Um,
Wow.
I've got to feel like we're all athletes, amateur, pros. We're all athletes, and I think we need to. If you can touch one person by doing it, well, mission accomplished. And even like we find that it's the little things that count.
Yeah.
So some people don't care about the announcing, others do. We created an environment, we created an experience, and if you go see our logo of Disc Golf Dieppe, it's not only disc golf, it's an experience. Well, that's kind of the vision we had, and we wanted to tackle all those little things. Like we wanted to make it look like it's a pro tour event, so that you come as an amateur, you feel like a pro. For if it's just for that 2.5 hours that you're out on the course, hey, guess what? We For us it's mission accomplished, but
Yeah.
also having quality behind it. So like I said, I had a great group of volunteers. You can have all these ideas. I want to do everything and do everything right, but if I don't have people standing behind me, people
Hmm.
going out, putting the whiskers out, putting the flags on top of the posts, having people that are just standing around for anything to happen. Like something happened on the first day of the event. We all saw that it was windy and rainy, and all of a sudden we do our walkthrough at 7:30, clean our tee pads. We get back, and the first card that goes out at 7:45 gets on hole 14, and there's a huge maple tree that just came down in the
Oh
middle
my
of the
No.
goodness.
fairway, blocking the fairway. So guess what? We had a few people at our headquarters, or at Central, and it's one call to the city. Chainsaws are out within 25 minutes. That tree's cut, junked, and in the woods, and it didn't even delay the next card that was up. So it
Wow.
it just goes to show you when we talked about stress tests. I think
Hmm.
when things like that happen, with the rain that happened, with the mulch that we were able to put down on the course to keep it as dry as possible. It wasn't the greatest of condition, greatest of footing, but I think we did the most with what we had, and we just made it happen.
Yeah,
Man.
it sounds amazing. You kind of highlighted it there as well. I mean, you go to any disc golf tournament, what are you going to get? You're going to get tee pads. You're going to play a course. You're going to throw discs. You're going to get a variation of the course, but you're going to get the same thing at every course.
Mm.
But it's the little things that you get at your tournament that you don't get at all those other tournaments,
Mhm.
like the announcing, like the custom trophies and things like that. The players packs, whatever it might be. All those little things is what sets your event apart from all those other events. So yeah,
Good on you.
it's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah.
Well, that's awesome, Luke. And we do have our next guest hanging out, ready to go. But before we let you go, was there anything that we didn't cover or any shout outs that you wanted to do before we move on?
No, I just want to say thanks to everybody that came down. We had a lot of big names that came down, but a special thanks goes to the city of Dieppe, our sponsors, but especially my Dieppe crew. Uh, uh, Rick, David, and Pat, you guys know who you are. I wouldn't do this without you guys and the rest of the 20 people on the Dieppe crew. Thank you. You guys are what motivates me to keep doing this, and we're already talking about 2026 already. And let's just hope that we surpass what we did this year.
Oh,
There you go. And just before we let you go, I wanted to clarify because we tried to search Instagram and we found two Disc Golf Dieppes. So there's Disc Golf Dieppe and Disc Golf Dieppe Inc.
Ooh,
Do
that
you
would
know
be a
which?
Rick Roberts.
all right.
Okay, we'll find out and
That
we'll put a link.
well, I think it could be Disc Golf Dip Inc., but I'll let Rick Robichaud tell you about that because when it comes to the whole social media, I'm zero on
Yeah.
that. So
Sounds
thank
good. We'll
God we
keep you
have him.
updated.
Yeah, that's right.
Awesome.
Okay, well, Luke, it was awesome chatting with you. Thanks for joining us. Congrats again on the amazing A-tier tournament. And you know what? If there's other things that are happening out in the Atlantic area, make sure to drop us a line so we can bring it up on the podcast. And we really appreciate everything you did for us as well.
That's it. And if you want your own
Oh,
player's card at a tournament, come to Dieppe.
Oh,
That's
there
all I
you
have to
go.
say.
look at that. Rick's in the chat. He said Disc Golf Dieppe.
That's the one we're using
That's
for
the
the
bomb.
following.
There you go.
Thanks, Rick.
Thanks
Perfect.
again, guys, for
Thank you very
everything.
much.
All right.
Okay,
Take
have a good
care.
night.
Peace out. Woo!
Luke is awesome, hey?
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Everything he's doing out in Atlantic Canada it just seems like, there's
You
no
can feel it
nothing.
here.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing's too small or nothing's too, you know, inconsequential to get done. If it's
Oh.
small and it adds a bonus to the event, that's it. We're
That's
getting it
it.
done.
Well, and let's talk to a guest who is actually there
Yeah.
playing in the event.
Why not?
So our next guest is no stranger to the Chain Out podcast. She was first on Chain Out, Daryl, for a full interview on episode number 20.
Wow.
Episode 20,
Episode-
60
episodes ago.
And then she was back on episode 51, which was our live Australian
Right.
Rick Diff episode.
Yeah, we remember that one.
Yeah. And then again, she showed up on episode 10 for Around the Basket.
Yeah. Slowly moving into that top tier of
Most
frequent guests.
Yeah.
Wow.
And she's had a busy year so far, playing 7 tournaments in the FPO division, winning 4 of them, placing second at 2 of them, and the fourth one, it was a 7th.
That's
Still in the
good.
top 10, hey?
Yeah.
Yeah. Her latest win was this past weekend at the Dieppe Open. So fire up that chat and help us join us in welcoming Colleen McInnes to the show.
Oh,
Colleen,
thank you for having me.
How are you doing?
Oh, great. Excellent. Slept all day, so that was good.
Well, you know what? That's probably a great lead into the start of what we wanted to ask you. Is I like to look at where tournaments are out here in Alberta. We always talk about, like, Daryl and I went down to Lethbridge and we drove there for 5 hours to get there from Edmonton, and doing 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours. That's kind of a common Western Canada drive thing. But when we look at the map, Dieppe to Burlington, Ontario is 1,600 kilometers, 15 hours. Tell us, did you drive? Did you fly? How did you get there?
Yeah, we drove. We actually had quite an adventure too, because me and Chris went up to it was a local C tier that's been running for years now, called Black Fly.
Oh, yeah.
And it's up the provincial park Algonquin. It's in
Okay.
South River. So we were way up there and played that tournament and then left from there. So it was kind of cool because we got to go all across the Trans Canada Highway to get there. It was like a beautiful drive, and it was part of Ontario that I hadn't seen, and
Okay.
then through Quebec. So that was cool. We didn't bring our passports, so we didn't cut through Maine, although I don't think that would have been much faster.
Right.
But so we went around Maine, which is quite a inconvenience. It would be so nice if we could just cut through.
Right.
And then we got there because we left on Monday, so we got there on Wednesday and did our got into our Airbnb and met up with the rest of the pretty much brawny crew. It was like 10 staying in a house. And so we met up with everyone, and then we did our practice rounds on Thursday. So it was
Okay.
a
Right.
good amount of travel, go stop and see a few things, and then get up there to practice and actually see the course.
Nice.
Although to say if I could give anyone any advice, it would be do more than one practice round because the course was so unique and so challenging, and there was so many. I would say in like those holes where you're like, "There's no way I'm really gonna 2 this unless I throw it in." But,
Right.
we're playing, like, top tier, and maybe you could have just that wind boost to get you to the circle's edge, and you could totally get it. But, like, really, it's kind of a soft par 4. So, the pars were pretty favorable there,
Right.
for us to be able to get, like, have eagle looks and stuff like that, but there were certain holes that you could definitely play it properly and get pars very easily. But if you knew where the open spots were and where the best landing zones were, you could kind of push it a little bit more and get up there to get in position. And so knowing the course would have like a little bit better would have been, I think, a big advantage. But that
Yeah.
was I learned it through the weekend.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Well, with that, I think you're right. Is anytime you can get more than one practice round. We even found that recently we did a tournament when you've been there before. Maybe that's the time you can get that one practice round in
Mhm.
because you're a little more familiar with it. But as you've led us into the Dieppe Open, first of all, congratulations on the
Yeah.
FPO win. We should say that to you.
Thank you. Thank you. I heard you guys in when you introduced me about coming on so often. I'm now going to be winning A tiers just to be on here.
There you go.
Hey, we love that.
Yes,
We love
absolutely.
that. Well, let's talk about the tournament. We want to jump to that part there. And first of all, there was a great FPO field out there, and there was probably a few new faces from your usual kind of Ontario FPO crowd that you'd be playing with. So some familiar faces like Chantal Badinsky was there, and also your Whiff Diff Team Canada teammate, Karen Martel. Last year's Discmania Open winner Rose Shurtick was there. Local pro Tanis trainer, and then another Quebec pro in Julie Bisson. How was it playing against this new group of FPOs?
It was wonderful. And you don't know what to expect when you've never played with people. So it's kind of cool to just be like, "Oh wow, they're throwing a forehand." And like, no, we don't throw the most forehands in Ontario, so that was really inspiring. And I actually went to because Luke had done so much for this tournament. Like, there's so many details you'll never know about, but like being there all weekend when you're asking about stuff, and we asked about um, the he did hole breakdowns where he did drone flight, and like he had those all those little things that he had put in.
Right.
So he had put in some players like social stuff, and they did a women's clinic on Thursday night before like after your practice round was probably over before the players party. It was like a quick hour kind of clinic, and it was run by Karen Martel and Rose, and they
Okay.
were wonderful. Like, I actually dragged some of my friends to come with me because I was like, I'm going, don't make me go alone. um, but it was great. And then it was funny because I played with Rose as well, and then and they had given me some tips about forehands. Like, they had done a whole spiel, pulled people aside to like give tips, and I was asking them about that because that's something I've been working on for like a few years. But yeah, so I used some of those tips in the round because you got to do forehands when you have to do it. Like, there's no
Yeah.
sense in doing something dumb. So that really helped. And then Rose was cracking jokes with me about how much I learned in the clinic, and I think it was like nice because it's some people, I think, not to be like gendering here, but like a lot of the MPOs just don't want to do that kind of stuff. They're like, they're my competition and things like that.
Right.
They'll talk shop with each other, but to get a lesson from a fellow MPO would be like, "Psh, what are they going to tell me, right?" So, it's I think a lot of people could do with some humbling and, go to those things because
Yeah.
there's a lot of things talked about for all the new people that I was like, "Oh man, I forgot like about that." That's like a really good thing for me to remember, like especially when you've been playing so long, you always just assume your basic form is great, but then there's so
Yeah.
many little things and little intricate things. So the
Yeah.
women's clinic was great, and I ended up being really lucky being able to play with all 5 of the women, just the way the cards went through the weekend. So
Right.
that
That's
was
good.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I'm hearing, Jeremy, is that to win an event, you need to don't have a forehand and show up and practice once, and then you're going to go ahead and win the event.
There you go.
Well, speaking of the event, why don't we're not going to go hole by hole, but let's just do a quick recap. When we look at the first round, it looked like it was a pretty tight battle between you and, as you say, Karen taking the lead after round one. You 1 stroke behind her in second, and then Chantel 1 stroke behind in third. How did that first round go? We heard there was a little bit of weather.
Oh yeah, it was so much rain. It was like I think everyone was just a little unprepared because, in different parts of Canada, although we might be like similar northwise,
Mm-hmm.
we have totally different weather systems and like you're a lot closer to the ocean. It's just a lot colder. So I happen to pack my gloves, like my winter gloves. I packed like a bunch of layers and toques and like so many towels.
Yeah.
And this time I brought 5 towels, but like
Yeah.
a few goat towels too. And I was like, I'm gonna be set with this is plenty. I don't really use a lot of towels either. And I was totally regretting that probably like 4 holes in.
Oh,
Cause
Right.
like,
wow.
yeah, after the first hole, my first towel was totally done. It was just a mud towel at that point, like just to wipe the initial wipe, and then
Yeah.
it was bad. You could see people when they were coming in at the end of their round for the first day. There was like 4 towels hanging from their umbrella, or they're hanging off their cart because you don't want to put it back in your bag once it's soaked. So there
Right.
was just like towels hanging off everybody's things everywhere. Um, it was rough. And if you had winter gloves, you were smart. If you didn't, people were going out to the store to buy them on Friday night, and nobody could find winter gloves. They were buying like working gloves to just have something to
Something.
wear.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was rough. I saw Chantel when she came off the first round, and she was just like, ugh. And I was like, oh, back to Canada.
Yeah.
Oh,
A
there
bit
you
cold.
go.
Yeah. So yeah, it got better, I think, throughout the first round, and then the MPOs didn't have as bad of rain. Like they
Mm,
really pretty dry for them.
mhm.
It was a bit weirder. And then the second day it was nice.
Right.
Like I would call it nice. Like it was supposed to rain, but it like really just sprinkled a few times. And then the third day it wasn't bad. I think the MPOs got it worse. Because it kind of flipped what happened the first day, and it got progressively worse through the day, and they just had raging winds at the end of the round. So that
Okay.
was a little bit of payback
Yeah.
because we were very spread apart. Normally, MPO and FPO are pretty close,
Yeah.
but they played a longs layout, and we did a hybrid where it was in between longs and shorts, mostly longs, but then like even if we were playing along, the par was different for us on a bunch of holes.
Right.
So they put us kind of in front of MA1, and there was like a huge gap. So it was nice because I got to go watch Chris's round when he was on the lead card at the end of the tournament there. So that was cool. It's
Yeah.
like there's pros and cons of when your tee times are, but try to just look at it as the pros. I either get to watch my amateur friends in the morning or I get to watch Chris in the afternoon. So
There
it
you
was
go.
great.
Yeah. As long as you're
Yeah.
always looking at the positives. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we jump ahead to that round two, Chantel and you managed to separate yourself from the rest of the field a little bit. You were both tied in first place with +5. Tanis? Yeah,
Yeah.
Tanis. Sorry, I
Yeah.
thought her name was something different. Tanis and Karen were tied for third at +8, 3 strokes behind you. You and Chantel had competed against each other so many times in the past. Did you look at each other at the end of the round and say, "Here we go again"?
Yeah, I think we both have a healthy fear of each other. Like
It's a nice
at the
way
end
to
of the
put it.
tournament, I did give her a big hug and say like, you're so good. You're so hard to beat. And it was like an honor to play. But yeah, I think part of it is I was kind of just as scared for Karen, and I really hadn't played with Tanis. I had seen her at BC Open, but I don't think we got on a card together. So I knew Karen could come back from that second card
Hmm.
and pull ahead anyways. But yeah, I think at the end, it was nice to have a little bit of a gap and just worry about one person and be like, okay, I'll probably cash if I don't blow up. But it's always funny when you play that many holes and then you end up tied or one off
Mhm.
or one ahead or back, and it's such a tight battle even like through so many holes. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was really exciting right till the end. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look at scores more, but I'm trying to more look at just what I'm doing for my score, not necessarily like am I
Right.
winning or losing until like that last, part of the last round. So in that second round, I was just happy I was doing better than the day before. I was
Right.
thought I could
Yeah.
have done better than that too. I was frustrated the whole um 17 that day. I had like screwed up, and then hole 18 I like missed a putt, and it was just like such a frustrating end. But
Mhm.
better than the first day.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Well, then, Jeremy and I were following along PDGA Live when we were watching it. It looked like quite a battle in the third round. Chantel started off pretty clean. You picked up some bogeys. You took a bogey on hole 15, which then had you 2 strokes behind with 3 holes to go. Can you tell us a bit about what happened from there on in?
Yeah, well, a lot of it had to do with those bogeys at the beginning. Something bad happened on 3. I did a forehand that just was put me in such a bad position that I was like going from, birdie to bogey, standing there thinking like, why did I do that? And then the next hole, instead of moving on, I just kind of dwelled on it and I bogeyed and bogeyed, and I got so frustrated at that point that I said, you know what, I'm just gonna try and do what my game plan was for the rest of the holes and like not care about winning anymore. Cause I kind of sometimes you feel like you're out of it, even though,
Yeah.
you're like negative. You're not out of it and you're
Yeah.
not out of it. You're like, I don't want to think about it anymore. I don't want to
Right.
care anymore.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where a big momentum shift. I think it was hole 6. I made a putt for the birdie from just outside the circle, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I can do cool things. I just wasn't doing it yet," and that helped. And then hole 7 was I double bogeyed it all 3 rounds, so I wasn't really phased by that. But I was just trying to keep going. And when I got to 15, um, 14 was my best hole of the tournament. It was a crazy hard, long, like big tunnel, but you had 2 gaps, which one you would go down the whole way down. And I birdied it all 3 rounds. So when I came off that
Nice.
hole, I was like, this is going great. I'm playing great. Like this might not be out of it. And I didn't look at the score because I knew I was pretty sure I was close. And then I shanked my drive, and that's when I looked, and it actually kind of helped because I was like, "Oh, I'm only 1 back. If I pitch out and get up and down and get a bogey, then like maybe I'll only be 2 back, like depending on if someone gets a
Yeah.
birdie or not." Like if Chantel, I think she was out of the circle, if she putted that and got a birdie, it would have been a 2-stroke swing, but she parred it, and I was like, "Okay, whatever. You never know what'll happen." And we went to the next hole, and that just kind of that hole 16 just flipped everything over. So it was a little bit of like the mindfulness of like, why am I looking at the score? I'm
Hmm.
not looking at it to like punish myself. I'm looking at it to see like, should I care about playing smart, or should I try and do something cool and feel better, or should I just like play smart and feel better, or like
Yeah.
it wasn't to like indicate any shame on myself, which I think is like it's sometimes what we fall into. So
Hmm.
Yeah.
that practice the last year has been very helpful to like look when I want to know, don't look when I don't want to know. I don't have to have some sort of, oh, I never look or I always look or
Right.
that kind of stuff. And so that helped a lot to just really remember what my plan was of like, I think I can birdie this or I don't think I can. And just when I drive, go from there. So
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
like a huge momentum shift on that one hole though. I had
Well,
an
yeah.
eagle putt
Oh, keep going.
on
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I had an eagle putt on 14, and I was like, it was a putt, which is crazy for me to have got down there in two, because it's such a long hole. I don't even know how long it is, but like
Yeah.
it's such a long hole. And yeah, like 512 feet and all trees to just not hit
Oh,
anything. So I was like, I
Crazy.
missed that putt, and I was like, that's okay. And then I shanked the next hole, and I was like, ah, whatever. I wouldn't have had that opportunity anyways if I didn't make, those two good drives. So I was just really
Right.
thinking about my drives. And when I threw my drive on 16, because I bogeyed the hole before, I was going last. So I already saw where everyone else went.
Right.
So when, like, it is part of it, but when Chantel didn't have a good drive, I was like, oh, here we go. Like, maybe I could get a birdie here, and she'll
yes.
just pop, and then I'll close it a bit more,
Yeah.
and maybe do it on the next hole, and then maybe the next hole. Like, I was kind of going. So, you know, I don't know. I can't speak to what her mentality of what she was doing was, but um, yeah, she got that shift of a bogey to an eagle was like a complete turnaround.
Hmm.
Um, and the next hole, 17, is just not really. It's a really really hard birdie, is you got to go through a tiny gap and have it either forehand or turn over, and then at the end of it is there's just a bunch of trees, so you could hit anything and stop you outside the circle, kick you into out of circle two or whatever. And so you just kind of want to get up there and get the three. And we both did that. So I was like, after that, I was like, oh, we're golden. And then we had a super eventful 18. We got
Okay.
the FPOs in front of us, and we got to hole 18. We put in our scores from 17. We had a chat about like good round and everything, and fist bumped, and someone told a joke, and haha, and oh, I think we're clear, nobody's up there. And so I was like, cool, and walked up, didn't even think about it, didn't see anybody there, just threw my drive, totally shanked it, hit a tree. There's a little bit of water there, and it slopes down to the water, and the water's OB, and it hit it back onto the path. So I was on the top part, and I was like, oh, okay, that was like, yeah, like that was great. And then I see someone pop out, or I think we saw a disc pop out, and we were like, what
Oh.
was that? And then we saw a guy walk out, and he's like going like this. And I go,
Waving the white flag.
yeah, the card's still on this hole. And so I kind of maybe iced Chantel and Tanis a bit, because then they had to wait for them to putt out. And it's like windy, everyone's not
Mhm.
having a good putting day. So it took a few minutes. And then I
Wow.
think Rose threw it in from the fence, like a huge throw in, and everyone's cheering up there. And we're like, okay, yeah, let's go. And then finally Chantel got to throw, and then she kind of got in some trees a little bit, but it was fine. It was like me on the path ish and like up there. And so we both pitched up, and we both had like a tester. Like, I mean, I'm sure some people would be like, oh, that's in the circle, you should make that every time. But when it's windy and it's the last hole and
Yeah.
everything is on the line, and she had to go first, and she made it, and I was like, okay, don't screw this up, and there's people everywhere watching you. So that was a really nervy last putt to make, but it went in, and it it was a big eruption. And it was funny because after Chris said he hid behind Brownie hid behind Oz
Yeah.
to himself, so he was like, I didn't want you to see me, and I was like, thank you, because I think yeah, it was a very, very eventful hole, but I'm so
Yeah.
glad that I shanked it. If it hadn't hit that, it had hyzered out like I was planning, I totally would have gone to where like the other girls were, where Julie and Karen were on the left side. So
Mhm.
yeah, that would have been a bad way to end a tournament, with an ambulance call or something.
Oh
So
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
always make
that's that's so awesome, Colleen. It's so fantastic. And it's like one of the things without, with Park Pro not being able to be out there this year and not covering all the tournaments, it's so good to have you kind of recount it to us, because we're watching the scores come in and we're making up our own story, but we don't know what happened in between each of those shots. So that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And now you go out and you win the Dieppe Open, the first A tier that they've had up there. You get that really cool trophy. Is it oh, you have it there?
Oh wow, they're bigger. Yeah, it's big.
Yeah. And
That is
the best is Chris got a mystery box, and so he has like a little version of it. It's like half the size.
Right?
oh
Yeah,
Really
yeah.
cute.
that's fantastic. So
That's
are you
awesome.
going to be for sure heading up to Dieppe next year to defend your title? What are you thinking?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And I think they better put it on a weekend where there's not a conflict, or I'm going to be so sad. So I like that it wasn't on a long weekend because we have Foxwood and Blackfly are our long weekend. So I already have to choose between those. I don't want to have
Mhm.
to choose three.
Oh,
But yeah, I'm looking forward to going back as well because there's so much to do out there. Like we went to the Reverse Falls, which was really cool in St. John, and there's the you can go walk on the ocean floor. Um, we did that in I think Alma. We stopped, and when the tide's out, you can go walk like so far out. It was
Wow.
like
yeah.
walking 3 minutes out there. And then they have the rocks. I can't Hopewell rocks, I think they're called.
Okay.
And like we got fresh lobster, just like
Oh,
Nice.
amazing stuff out there. There's so many waterfalls too. So I definitely recommend the tournament to everyone. I think disc golf's such a unique opportunity to go explore the rest of Canada and travel. We have such a beautiful country, and it would be wonderful for me to go to Worlds this year in Europe, but like I haven't even been to half of our provinces and
Yeah.
territories. So, it's something that I think like me and Chris have been making a point to do more often. So I highly recommend it to everyone. Like I was saying, the detail that Luke and Rick put in with like the little tiny things they did, the drone footage, they had CTV News out there, they had a
Mhm.
players party, they had like the clinic, they had Glowy, they had so many things. And the level of effort that they went, I know that they reached out to a lot of the pros just to come out. Um, it made you feel so welcome to have that kind of community. And it was really special. I think like the way that some of the people talked to like me and Oz and Thomas about how they had watched us, like they knew who we were and they were excited that we were in their area, and they just don't get a lot of that out there. And so
Mhm.
they thrilled to have people from that far away and not just their Nova Scotia and PEI friends come and
right.
Quebec. Yeah, just if you're considering a destination next year, I would recommend it, and you get a leg up on everyone else for nationals because I'm pretty sure their bid will get approved. The way they've been talking and thinking it
Mhm.
out, like if anyone is ever thinking about nationals, reach out to Luke because I think what he's done, him and Oz have both done this when they both ran nationals with scaling it from a tournament to an A tier to a successful big A tier to then have nationals. Like that's kind of the
Mhm.
way to do it.
Yeah.
That's what we had in BC as well with their tournament. Harvest Huck was a really big A tier leading up to that. So it's definitely possible. All of those tournaments probably started small and moved up. So, if anyone ever wants to get into that, we would love to get Alberta,
Yes.
Manitoba. I would love for you guys to do nationals one year. So
Yeah.
please
Yeah.
do.
Got to start picking up the slack. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and Colleen, that next September or this September as Nationals is coming up, we're going to see you out there, and we see that you're playing the Forefathers, which is at one of the courses, so you'll get to play Newcastle and get a little leg up on that. So good luck at that tournament. But we do also have Thomas waiting for us too, because we got a jam-packed show. So before we let you go, did you want to take a chance to shout any sponsors or anything else you want to kind of throw out there?
Yeah, just a big shout out to Dieppe Disc Golf and Luke and Rick, and thank you to Thought Space. Not sponsored, but they sponsored. It really does matter to have companies that care about Canada. And thank you to you guys, because without this, we wouldn't know what's going on all across Canada. So it's really amazing what you guys are doing.
Oh,
And to Team Bronte, we won our Ryder Cup this year. Go us! And
fantastic.
Perfect.
it was like 10 of us out there, so we did great at that tournament. So good job to Fenny and all our Bronte people.
Yeah. And then we'll also say too, Colleen, to all the fans of you who have seen you multiple times on the podcast and want to track you down, go out to Instagram and check out at DISCOLLZ Discalls and follow Colleen there.
Oh, one more thing. Me and Brooklyn are running a fundraising event for Brooklyn's 2025 season. So if anyone wants to participate, registration's open. It's the Canada Day with like A in the name. And there is an opportunity if anyone wants to donate for $10 or $20. You can just sign up as a supporter. So help us get that 13-year-old to Worlds this year, and she's gonna honestly, she came first at Foxwood and third at her first FPO tournament here last weekend. So she's gonna be beating me and Chantel and Alex and Kat soon enough, anyways. So yeah, help her kind of follow her dreams there. So
Sounds great.
yeah,
Well,
thank
that's fantastic. And
Yeah.
we'll see the two of you at Nationals there because we got a doubles match to play. But thank you so much for joining us, Colleen. It was great to see you.
There it is.
Awesome. Thank you. Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
All right.
Whew.
Colleen's always so great. We could talk to her for forever. I know I could. Every time we have
any one of our guests. We're
Yeah.
we're so privileged to do this. Everyone always says thank you to us
Yep.
for the what we're doing for Canada and disc golf, but it's more like
Thank you to
what
them.
we get out of it. Yeah, exactly. We're honored.
And we've had someone waiting patiently in the green room. So
Yes.
let's get to that person. We know you are familiar with our next guest. After all, he was just on the podcast last week
Exactly.
after winning his first A tier of the year, the Foxwood Open, for the third time, might I add. This past weekend, he headed out to Dieppe and put his second A tier win under his belt. Fire up the chat and join us in welcoming Thomas Gilbert.
Oh,
Hey,
There-
there he is.
Hey, there we go.
Hey Thomas, how are you doing?
Hi. Good. How are you guys?
Good.
Fantastic.
Long time no see, my friend. Long time.
Yeah. Glad to be back on.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
I
We
mean,
appreciate that.
that's what comes from winning all the events you enter, right?
That's right. If
Yeah.
you're going to win,
If you're gonna win, you're gonna-
10, 11 Canadian A tiers, we're going to be talking to you a lot this year. So,
I hope so.
We hope so. Yeah.
yeah. Well, congratulations on the win this past weekend. 2 A tiers and 2 wins. I don't think you could have drawn up a better start to the Canadian A tier season if you tried.
No. The only thing I could have possibly done is somehow played spring runoff at the same time as Foxwood, but I don't think that would be possible.
If you figure that out, you've unlocked the secret everybody wants.
You've got a big arm. I don't think you've got that big of an arm.
Yes.
Well, there you go. When we talked to you last week, you were in Dieppe and you just finished your big maple event. So kind of let's pick it up from there and go right into the tournament really quick with you. And it was 3 rounds over 3 days. And round 1 looked like it went pretty well, except for maybe 2 holes. You finished up tied for 4th on the first day. How did you feel about that first round?
Oh man, yeah. First round was interesting. Just like had a little bit of a shaky start. Slightly overdressed because it was really cold, really windy, and so I put on like tons and tons of layers. Missed 2 birdie putts on the first 2 holes, which kind of like I don't know was a little bit shaky, but I think also just a little bit restrictive on the clothing. But really, hole 1 and hole 18 are the only holes that actually play out in the open in like the really cold wind. Like most of the rest of the course is pretty guarded by trees and other things, so it feels a lot like warmer and less windy. So took some clothes off, kind of settled into the round a little bit. Yeah, the 2 double bogeys is just like first one was just I tried scrambling a little bit too hard on one of the holes and ended up like hitting some trees that I didn't even realize that I was like aiming at. And then yeah, last hole was a doozy. Clipped a branch and then like threw my upshot probably about 50 feet short on like an open 200-foot upshot, and then yeah, three putted my way to a double to go from tied for the lead to yeah, fourth place. But
Wow.
then smartened up the second and third round. I had kind of set a goal for myself in the second round because I really feel like I have a pretty big advantage on the first like 4 or 5 holes,
Okay.
or for 6 holes, first 6 holes. And so I set a goal for myself that I wanted to be at least 4 under par through six, and then I think I was 5 under par through six
Mhm.
in the second round.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, and when we looked at that second round, yeah, you cleaned up those bogeys, but you also managed to get the eagle on hole 6, and that got you to a two-stroke lead just over above Oz and Hubert. And tell us
Mhm.
kind of about what is hole 6 like, and how did you manage to get an eagle on it?
So yeah, the holes 4, 5, and 6 are all temporary holes that they just set up for this tournament
Mhm.
layout, and so they play around the baseball diamonds on kind of like the back side of the course, and they're really interesting holes. Like definitely create a good challenge with like the OBs and the fences from the baseball diamonds that they actually made hazard for the event. So that was like kind of a interesting switch up, but just with the length of them, it really gave me a big advantage to just be able to use my big arm. And like I threw a roller that gets me to like a jump putt position on the first one, and then I could just go, luckily, spike hyzers on the second and third temp holes. So I was able to just throw like my boss way out, and hyzer it pretty accurately toward the basket, birdieing hole number 5, 2 out of the 3 rounds, and then I think playing hole 6 4 under for the 3 rounds.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah. I think that was the hole that we just had Luke on, and I think he said that he tried to, push the limits of the hole to make it a bit fairer, but then Thomas came
Yeah.
along and showed us Thomas lines.
Yes.
Oh, well, that's good. So that got you through round 2. And now round 3, you kept playing clean, although
Mhm.
Hubert tried to catch up with you and he got pretty close around hole 14. But then you managed to take on the lead, grab a couple more birdies, take the win. And how was it battling with Hubert in the last round? And like, have you played with him before, or was this a new face for you on the competitive side?
Yeah, I had seen him out at a couple events. I know he came, played Foxwood a couple years back, and then I believe he also might have been in another like provincials that I had played. And so I recognized his face, but I hadn't actually got the pleasure to play with him before. So
Mm.
it was really cool to see his game and like his style to playing the course. He's like a really really solid player, and definitely impressed me with his abilities. And I was lucky enough that kind of the front half of the course was really my advantage. So I kind of
Mhm.
built up the lead as I went on early. And then the main thing that I was kind of keeping in my head is like, okay, no one I think is caught me for my score for today. And I know I had a 2 stroke lead to start today. So as long as like I just don't let anybody beat me today, then I should be good for the tournament.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's awesome. And you mentioned about Hubert there. You also got to play with some other great Atlantic players as well, Pierre Landry and Dylan Gowdy. Have you played with those before? What are your thoughts on those players?
Yeah, two really talented players, more local to the New Brunswick area. So,
Hmm.
yeah, really skilled. Pierre's forehand was like unbelievable, one of the most unique forehands that I had seen, and really, really skilled. He knew his angles on that course extremely well, and threw some of the like coolest little flip up flex forehands that I had
Wow.
seen all weekend. And then Dylan's game is just super, super solid. He has a good backhand, good forehand, laser putt, which matches his age for that style of it. Just like has all the skills, and I think just kind of putting it together is something that he'll learn as he develops like more experience on the course. But
Right.
absolutely has like the skill set to be a really talented player.
Yeah. Well, and
Yeah.
he took down the Discmania Open last year. We
Yeah.
got a chance to talk to him, and he's already, for doing probably not that many interviews yet, he was so well rounded and seems so level headed as well that he's probably
Mhm.
just going to keep getting better as the years go by.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, we know you've been out to PEI before for nationals out at Hillcrest and other tournaments like that, but was this your first time heading out to New Brunswick? Had you played there before?
I played a course in St. John's, New Brunswick. I hadn't actually stopped in Dieppe or in Moncton before. I had driven through like on my way to PEI, but yeah, this is the first time I got the pleasure of like actually being in the city and yeah, experiencing like everything that they had to offer. So that was really really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you mentioned earlier, and Luke touched on it as well, that this is kind of they take the regular course and they kind of make it into safari disc golf sort of thing, add in those extra holes, renting out those baseball diamonds as you mentioned. What did you
Yeah,
think about
yeah.
the courses out in that type of area, and what do you think about like the whole disc golf scene?
Oh, I love it. Yeah. I mean, it was incredible there. The entire disc golf scene was amazing. Like the organization for the entire event and like also the organization to get my big maple up and running was
Right.
like honestly some of the best organization I've ever seen. Like I said in my acceptance speech that like their level of organization and readiness to run this tournament like
Hmm.
rivals disc golf pro tour events. Like it was
Wow,
Wow.
incredible how well prepared and how well like put together they were for running this event.
that's amazing. That's great.
Well, and with you being at a number of Canadian nationals and so many disc golf pro tour events,
Mhm.
with Luke saying they're going to look to make a bid for the 2027, are you feeling they're right on track and this would be a great place to hold nationals?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Dieppe course is definitely a high caliber course and would score very well for a nationals level event. And then the only other course I played in the area was the CDT course that I ran my Big Maple on, and I
Hmm.
think that'll be a really good like junior M2 M3 potential course, like definitely some FA divisions as well. And I know that they're building two new courses that they're hoping to also use for nationals. So they're hoping to have a second course in place potentially for the Dieppe Open next year to kind of like get it a little test run before nationals and make it a couple little tweaks to make it like really nationals ready.
Right.
It's amazing. This is the good part about our sport, right? Is what we're still getting courses put in. They're still, improving the sport. They're making it better and better and better. And we're still looking forward to new courses. It's not like we've got a set courses. That's it. We've got enough. Like they're still improving and putting more in, right? It's amazing. It's
Yeah,
great.
yeah, exactly.
Definitely. So then for this trip that you were out there in Dieppe, do you have any highlights or moments that stick out from you or for you from the weekend? And it could be on the course, it could be off the course. Was there any special thing that you're going to carry with you as you've left Dieppe?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just the hospitality of everybody out in New Brunswick. Like, I was able to stay with Nick, a gentleman that I've known for a couple of years now, but like really kind of cemented that friendship even further this week. I stayed at his place out on the ocean front, just a little bit
Nice.
like northeast of Dieppe, and then as well just the entire hospitality of the uh, organizers for the event, Luke, like his entire team, Brad for helping me out with the event, like Dave, Pat, all those guys that were helping with the course and maintenance. Like everyone was just so friendly and so welcoming, and it really felt like an absolute pleasure to be there for the entire week.
Nice.
That's great.
Yeah. And now, Colleen, as you saw, because you were there in the green room, she showed us that amazing trophy. Talk about trophies. How does that one rank? I know you've won a lot of trophies over the years. How does that one rank as one of the more memorable ones, maybe, or where does it fit with the trophies you've won?
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely to be one of the more memorable trophies. It's a very unique trophy. Like it very much represents the area that the tournament was ran in, and so I think that's just super super cool when like a tournament makes a unique kind of expression with their trophy to kind of resemble or symbolize something about that area. And so I loved it. It's going to be an awesome trophy and definitely a one that stands out in my collection of trophies.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, for those who don't know, Thomas, you are now 5,700 kilometers away from Dieppe, and you're on the West Coast in Portland, Oregon, getting ready for the
Yeah.
DGPT Plus event, which is the Northwest Disc Golf Championship. How are the courses looking out there? Did you get a couple practice rounds in yet?
Yep, I got 2 rounds in at both courses actually. I just finished
Wow.
up my second round at Milo today, and yeah, it went super smooth. It really brought like a sense of light to my eye, where just the level of these tour courses is unbelievable. Like Dieppe was a pretty challenging course, but then you come onto the Pro Tour, you get into these tiny little narrow fairways of OB on both sides and like gaps the entire way, flex shots, straight shots, hyzers, like with all the distance in the world. It really like it's going to be an interesting event this weekend, and I just hope that I can, yeah, really try to minimize the mistakes and play a much more tighter game than I necessarily usually would have to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. So, not that you're going to take any advice from me, but you did mention, on your YouTube channel, you did have a video where you spoke to Clemonade about,
Yep.
limiting those OB strokes. So hopefully, maybe you go back and watch that video again and refresh your memory of
That'll
that.
be my homework tonight.
Yeah, there you go. Um, so, and then just on you mentioning about how far that Thomas has traveled, one of my highlights from watching your Instagram last year was you put together a bit of a montage of all the mileage and how many plane trips and car journeys you
Yeah.
took and all those sort of things. So I'll be interested to see where this shows up on next year's, the end of the season. If you're going to do one of those again, I'd really like to see that.
Yeah, that was super interesting and really like reflective to kind of see like all the miles that I've traveled to get to all the events that we play for an entire tour season. So
Yeah.
I definitely love to do another one of those videos.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then you mentioned it earlier, Jeremy. We went over the Canadian MPO and FPOs taking part this weekend. We already mentioned Sophia Donica and Rebecca Donner down there as well. I totally didn't know that you were going to travel all this way and be down here already. But Jeremy also mentioned another MPO that is new on our radar is Kieran Atkinson. Do you know much about him? Have you played with him at all?
I've heard his name. I can't remember for sure if I've played with him yet or not. But yeah, it's sorry, Kyle's. I'm in Kyle Hines' RV, and he's doing little
That's
fun
awesome.
hand gestures.
Well, hey, Kyle.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
We'll be in touch.
Yeah, they're gonna definitely want you on the podcast.
Word. All right.
Yeah.
I'll be around. I'm going.
All right. Oh yeah, you might hear his dog bark in a second.
That's okay.
All good, Thomas.
This is what we love
Yeah.
about the live interviews.
Yep, for sure.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're kind of getting to the end of it here too, but yeah, so good luck to all the Canadians that are going to be out there. Of course,
Yeah.
we've been loving watching Rebecca, and then knowing that Kieran's going to be out there. That's a new person that we haven't seen before, so we'll be keeping an eye on Kieran as well. So
absolutely,
yeah. Well, enjoy your West Coast swing. Enjoy Smith Lake, which is coming up right away. We know you're going to be doing TCO again. You're going to be looking at BCO. I think you've got LTL in there too. I don't know. You've got so many different events coming up. So
yeah, trying to fit in as many of those Canadian A tiers as I can. So yeah, larger than life, TCO, BC Open. Gonna do Smith Lake, and then actually just publish a new tournament for myself. The Battle of Big Maple is going to be coming to Kamloops. So the Wednesday before TCO, I'm going to be running a Battle of Big Maple at Mac Island.
Nice.
So very excited for that as well.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, we appreciate, you really are a great spokesperson for Canadian disc golf with everything that you're doing, because you literally are going coast to coast promoting it and trying to do everything you can. You're heading up to Whitehorse to do it. So thank you for all that you're doing, and we always appreciate you taking the time to join us.
Yeah, no worries. It's a pleasure to be on.
Yeah. Well, have a great weekend and have a great tournament, and we'll see you next time.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Thanks a lot, Thomas.
There you go, Daryl. Another Canadian A-tier recap to Dieppe Open, and I think we missed a good one. Hey?
Oh, it sounds like it. Yeah, everything that Luke is doing there, up in Atlantic Canada, like everybody has been saying, the way that he's taking it from just an event to a nice A tier to a well-run A tier to hopefully putting in that nationals bid and getting exempted. Yeah, like I said, we get one long trip every year.
Yeah.
We're going to nationals this year out in Haute Côte and Newcastle, wherever. Maybe we can 2027. We'll start planning now.
Yeah, I was going to say, we can't say we don't have enough time to get it figured out. That's
Exactly.
for sure. So, you know, and Luke too is just like all of our TDs that we work with, all of the different pros that we talk to, they're all so nice and so generous. And so to kind of go with those prizes that Luke had given us. So just to recap that, he's given us a replica of the Boy trophy.
The replica
buoy,
the
buoy,
the buoy.
the Bowie trophy. He's given us a couple thought space discs.
I think he said. I think he said a set.
Yeah, well, at least two.
At least two.
Yeah.
Whether at least two. The Expanse and the.
Yeah, it did kind of break up a little bit there. Then the other thing, if you missed it, was he has a trucker hat for us as well, and then he threw in at the last minute a jersey.
The jersey. He kind of broke up a little bit there as well, but he was like, "There's 10 left,
Mhm.
and if you guys want one." So yeah, that was amazing. I don't know exactly, but we'll be in touch with Luke, and it's one of those situations again, Jeremy. Can I be on the other side of this camera?
Can I be a fan of Chain Out
Can I be a fan?
Podcast?
Can I enter it? What if I enter and I win?
You can't do
I
that.
can't do that.
No.
It's in the T's and C's.
That's right. That's for sure. You can't
Okay.
do that. But we will put some posts with a whole bunch of efforts to drive more social media following in that towards Atlantic Canada Disc Golf Dieppe, because if we can start really pumping and pushing Dieppe, that will also help them with that bid, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
And more people that know about it, the more people that are likely to go out there as well,
yeah,
like to sign up for nationals.
for sure. And now that we're starting to get to know these Atlantic pros,
Mm-hmm.
I think we've got maybe some names to put on our guest list.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where, we could do that in any province, right? It's, we haven't done, like Colleen was even saying, we've interviewed Brian Freese, who was from Manitoba, but I don't think we've done very much in the middle central part of Canada. We've we've obviously covered Western Canada, we covered Eastern Canada, and now we're pushing out to the Maritimes as well. But there's so many, small little communities, small little disc golf clubs that have those pros that maybe can't, always go to the big A tiers or on the East and West that it seems like. But
well, and I'm thinking of it, and I know this is American to American, but when you think about what we've done with our interviews so far, when we interviewed Eden Badajoz from LTL last year, the LTL winner, he's in Alaska.
Right.
And then we interviewed Rose Shurtick
Mm-hmm.
from the winner of the Discmania Open. And I said Maine, but she's from New Hampshire.
Right.
So we've gone quite a distance there, and we'll just keep trying to cover everybody in between the best we can. So if you have, as a listener, if you know of a great pro that we have yet to interview, drop it in the comments and let us know, because we'll look to check that out and maybe add them to our future guest list.
Absolutely. That is what we say. If you want someone to be on our show, tag them on our posts, make them aware of us.
Exactly. And if you can help us out, subscribe to us on YouTube, because that would really help us out. It helps grow the channel, gets us more eyes on the podcast, lets more people know about Canadian disc golf, gives us the opportunity to get more discounts for you, and to also get more giveaways as well.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you can follow us on
Instagram as well. Instagram _podcast.
Yeah.
You want to look for us anywhere else, it's just straight Chain Out Podcast.
That's right. And on top of all of that, if you've done that and you're like, guys, I've done everything I can do for you, well, tell your family and friends, maybe check out our Patreon. We got a bunch of different levels that you can support us there. So check out our Patreon. And we always have an extra show. It gets you entered free into contests if you join. What else do we have there, Daryl? We have our link tree, which has buy us a beer. That's a one-time way you can support us, and we always enjoy that. So take a look at all those options, see what you can do. We'd always appreciate it. And to give back to you, of course, we have this spring runoff disc signed by MPOs and FPOs we're giving away. Check out that post on Instagram, like it, and put your favorite MPO and FPO from Canada on there. We also have that Fractal A2 we have, and that's going to get posted up right after this one, so watch for that. Watch for posts about giving away all these wonderful Dieppe Open prizes.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're just looking for discounts because you want to buy something, go to BR Disc Golf and use the code CHAINOUT to get 10% off. Go to Cardinal Disc Golf and use CHAINOUT to get 10% off. Go to Chains, the disc golf board game, buy yourself a board game, get 25% off with the code CHAINOUT. Or go to Goat Towel and get 15% off with the code COP15. And that's all because of all the support you guys give us. We're able to get these codes back to you.
We're so good.
Well,
we're just giving.
These guys, our listeners are so good. These folks are so great. So, Daryl, what do we got next coming up? We got Around the Basket?
Yeah, there's no fantasy episode this week. There's no Canadian 8 here. We've done 3. We need a little bit of a break.
Yeah,
We're going
it'll be
back to our regularly scheduled programming of Around the Basket.
I think LTL will be the next one.
It will be. That's in June.
Yeah.
Go ahead, join our Patreon at any tier, including free. You'll get a link to join us on our Around the Basket episode, which will be coming up very shortly after we finish this episode.
Mm-hmm.
This week, it'll be Around the Basket episode 26.
With these two guys.
These two guys who don't hit our microphones. It'll be episode 26, Disc Golf Discussions is what we're calling it. And you're teasing it. You're saying you got a little bit of a quiz for me?
Yeah, I've got a quiz of about 20 questions for Daryl, and I would love for anyone who joins us on the live Patreon to follow along. Of course, afterwards, it will go out to YouTube for everybody in a couple days. You can follow along then, but at least we can interact with you if you join us now.
Yeah. We don't know if you're pausing it and looking up the answers.
Yeah.
Yeah, there'd be none of that.
That's true. We wouldn't know that, Daryl.
Yeah.
But Daryl, you know what? You and I have not done one of these ones, at least not your style. I think last time I said we had this wonderful disc hanging on the wall, and when this disc was hanging on the wall, it wouldn't do something. But what do you think's going to happen tonight? What are we going to talk about? Maybe a thought space disc from the Dieppe Open? Do you think if we had a couple of those, maybe that expanse?
Well, okay, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which one? I've never thrown an expanse, but I think it's 11.5 -2.2 is what I believe the numbers are.
And if not, we're making it up, and that would be an amazing set of numbers for a disc, just beyond our arm speed, but understable enough that should flip up and
just beyond our arm speed. And I throw a destroyer and an Excalibur. Yeah, just goes to show I should not be throwing those discs.
No.
Yeah, but I reckon if you took that expanse, because obviously I only throw Innova and you throw Thought Space.
I do.
You took that disc. I reckon you could put that out there on a nice hole.
Yes, just a random nice hole.
I was trying to think of a hole. I'm thinking if you go to, you know what?
Well, you were just
I have faith. No, I have faith in you, Jeremy.
Okay.
I reckon if you were to go all the way out to Dieppe.
Okay, I'm going to go out to Dieppe. Yeah, that's awesome.
You're going to go out there for a practice round. You're not even going to worry about it. You're just going to walk straight to hole 6.
Yes.
It's not during tournament time, so there's a baseball game going on.
No.
You're just going to take that disc, but you don't even need to worry about it because you're going to rip on it.
I'm going to think, what would Thomas do?
What would Thomas do? You're going to take
WWTD.
You're going to put it on a little bit of hyzer. You're going to get it to flip up. It's going to sail over those kids playing baseball. It's going to land on the other side of the fence.
Yes.
It's going to land right beside the basket.
Okay.
But there's no way it would ever.
Not when I'm throwing.
Not when you're throwing it. It would never.
It could never possibly. Chain out.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you shortly.